I've ridden every Ducati Scrambler in the range. The 400, the Icon, the Enduro, the new Desert Sled. Let me just get past this car. And this is the only one I haven't ridden. But all of the Ducati Scramblers I've ridden all have the same sort of issues that I have with them, which is they struggle to find neutral. The seat is really hard, not particularly comfortable. I don't find it's a particularly comfortable bike to ride over a long distance. It's got 18-inch rims on it, so tyre choice is a bit tricky, and the suspension's very soft. So couple all that together, you just basically got a nice looking bike that's kind of fun to ride, but it's a little bit soft and squidgy and dynamically falls apart a bit when you try and push it. Ooh, let's get past this car. So yeah, I figured this was just going to be exactly the same sort of thing again, but less comfortable. But I'm happy to say, not only is it more comfortable, it's a lot more fun, and dynamically feels so much sharper. This bike feels completely different from all the other Scramblers in the range. Completely different. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, you'll notice it doesn't have these big wide bars, it's got these clip-ons. It's a Cafe Racer after all. But that makes the bike feel completely different, because now you've got a lot more weight over the front. So now you can actually feel everything the bike is doing through the front wheel. You don't have that sort of detached feeling that you get with sort of the other Scrambler. Oh, I'm going to go for it, there we go. So straight away, that's a massive difference. Just putting you in that position makes you feel a little bit more plugged in and a little bit more connected to the bike, I think. Next big difference is the wheels. This has got 17-inch wheels, which makes a massive difference again, because this doesn't have those semi-knobbly tyres on it. This has got Diablo Rosso 2s, which are a proper decent sports tyre, sports touring street tyre. So you can actually have decent tyres on this bike now, ones that actually handle and grip quite well. And it's 17 inches as well, so it turns really quickly and really sharp. It makes it a lot more agile. So just those few differences completely transforms this bike. So you can just take liberties with it. The brakes you can be really ham-fisted with. They got loads of stopping power. It's only a single rotor on the front of this, but it stops really well. But you can really grab handfuls of the brakes. You don't have to be too delicate with it. And that just goes with the whole character of this bike, because you've got this 800cc L-twin motor. It puts out about 75 horsepower. The bike's about 170 kilos. So it's not massively rapid, but the balance is so good, and you can use all the performance all of the time, well, most of the time. And it's still quicker than most cars on the road by quite a long way, so you can still have a heck of a lot of fun with this thing. So yeah, the issues with this bike are the same as most Scramblers I've ridden, to be fair. It struggles to find neutral sometimes. And the fuel injection is fine at these sort of speeds, but at lower revs there is a little bit of snatchiness. But when you're doing this sort of speed, it's fine. It's actually really good, really responsive. Oh, just missed that pigeon. Love it. Such a punchy little motor. Just suits this bike really well. The funny thing about this bike is it's all the little imperfections that make it so good, because it's not perfect. Like the way it rides, it's a little bit skittish, it's a bit twitchy, and under hard braking and over bumps it does move around a little bit and squirm around a little bit, but it just feels so alive, and that's what's awesome about it, is it's not perfect basically. And usually that's the sort of thing that pisses me off with bikes, is when they, you know, they're unstable or fucking suicidal pigeons today. But no, I love that about this bike. It's got so much character. And relax. My thumb keeps poking out of my gloves. I've got a hole in my glove. This is very unexpected. I wasn't expecting to like this thing. I was a bit kind of meh. Even when I sat on it, I was just like, nah, I'm not going to like this. But I love it. I would actually buy one of these. Just so cute looking. Oh, they've just resurfaced this road, so might have to be a bit careful down here. Bars are just shaking around. It's going flat out everywhere, it's great. Thank you. I was going to put my hand up to say thanks, but the bars are really twitchy. I don't want to let go of the bars in case I get a tank slap or something. It's great, you can just put the brake on in the middle of the corner because it's so light, and you can just slam the throttle on out of the corners and it's not going to spin up, it's not going to break traction, it doesn't feel like it anyway. So now we're cruising along at about 35-40 miles an hour, and it's alright, it does it. It's not too crashy, it's fairly smooth, actually the engine's pretty smooth. You notice bars, the bar end mirrors aren't vibrating around everywhere, so you can actually got a pretty good view of what's going on behind me actually, which isn't always the case with big V twins and some Ducati, because there's a lot of people who are going to be buying this bike who aren't going to be doing the sort of riding that I'm doing on it now, or back there. They're basically just going to be cruising around the city at 20 miles an hour going, yo, check me out, I'm on a Ducati, hey everybody, check me out. I don't really give a shit about that, I just care about how good this thing is to ride. Why would you want to waste all your fucking time riding around a city showing off when you could be out here doing this? So here I am at the traffic lights, trying to put this fucking thing in neutral for about 2 minutes now, and oh, and the light's gone green. It's a bit of a recurring theme with scramblers. I seem to spend most of my time sat at the traffic lights trying to put the fucking thing into neutral. I look like a fucking newbie or something, like trying to find neutral. But it just seems to be the case with all scramblers, apart from the 400. Didn't have that problem with the 400. Again, no quick shifter, you know, no auto blipper, no cornering ABS. It's fucking great. Oh, I'm gonna retake this car. ABS does cut in a few. I've had it a few times where the ABS has cut in quite violently under hard braking on the front. So like if I'm braking really hard to go into a corner and the road surface is a little bit bumpy, the ABS just doesn't really like it and goes, oh no, you're going to lock the front tyre, and then just ABS decides to kick in, and it's really disconcerting because you get this kind of lurch forward when it kicks in. to be honest, it's not really a criticism of this bike, because every bike I've ridden with ABS kind of does it. But it's why I don't like ABS. Once you sort of develop a feel for a bike, you kind of know how much grip and how much traction you've got. And even if you have got a little bit of a bumpy road in front of you, even under hard braking, if the suspension and the chassis is good enough to deal with those bumps, you don't really need the ABS. But I understand why it's there. It's a safety feature for people who maybe aren't as experienced, or even people who are, they just want that safety in wet weather and bad conditions and stuff. I get it. My only thing would be, it would be nice to turn it off. Maybe there is a secret way to turn this off. It would be very nice if it was, because there's a few times where it's kind of really got in the way of like trying to ride hard, to the point now I kind of get worried about braking hard into a corner in case the ABS kicks in on the front and I just lurch forward into the fucking bush or something. So it's a little bit disconcerting. I'd rather it just wasn't there, or at least had the option to turn it off. The brakes on this thing are great. Slow through here, all good. Whew. Love this bike. So much fun. Oh, let's go over the jump. Yes! What a happy little bike. Thank you. You really didn't need to stop for me there, but thanks. Fucking thumb. Look at that shit. I should probably get some new summer gloves. Well, I've got my like leather race gloves, but got me wear racing gloves on a fucking scrambler. I suppose I could. Whew. Yeah, man. This thing is sick. Okay, sensible now. Sensible speeds. You see, you can just ride this thing casually, just cruising along. A nice sunny evening. And it's quite comfortable, it's quite smooth. And then you can just go, you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's rip it. This bike actually wants to go fast. Like the other scramblers I've ridden seem a little bit reluctant to be ridden really quite quickly. This thing though, this thing loves it. Just the way it turns is so precise. There is just something about the way it turns and the way it goes around corners. I've not really ridden anything else that does it like this, really. It's got that real old school sort of lightweight, twitchy feel to it, but it feels so stable. As soon as you're actually in the corner, it just feels like it wants to lean and lean and lean forever. A lot of that's down to the tyres, I think, as well, which are very good, I have to say, actually. These tyres are really good. They got a nice sharp profile, but they don't just sort of fall off the cliff at the edge. You can get them right up to the edge of the tyre. Like, I've got no chicken strips left on this tyre now. But yeah, it really suits this bike's character, having 17-inch wheels. It makes so much difference to the handling. And again, I think having that extra weight over the front as well just gives it so much more feel in the front end. I will say actually that the ground clearance on this thing, like all the scramblers really, apart from the Desert Sled, it's not especially high, so it's not like a sport bike where you've got the foot pegs are quite high, so you are sort of limited in terms of what angles you can get, because your foot does go down before your knee will go down. You can get your knee down on this thing, I'm sure you could. I'm not going to try it now because I don't have knee sliders. Let's try it on this roundabout, because this roundabout's quite smooth. I can't actually see shit. Yeah, there we go. There's a knee down. Scuffed my textile trousers, but so yeah, it'll do all that sort of stuff, but it's actually quite good at it. I can't imagine many people are going to be doing riding like this on it and taking it on track days and stuff. If they do, that's awesome. Fair play. Come on, neutral. Come on, let me roll it forward a little bit. No, it doesn't help. Let me roll it back a bit. No, it doesn't help. Let's try again. No. No. No, now I'm in second. And first again. And no, that's second. And no. And, oh, and it's green. Okay, so now we're on the motorway. And not really this bike's natural environment. It's doing alright. We're doing 80 miles an hour. Just cruising along. Not too bad. I'm not getting a sore neck or anything from all the wind. My head's not being thrown about all over the place. Once you get up to about 90, 100, then yeah, things start getting a little bit windy. But this sort of speed is fine. I could quite happily cruise along like this at this sort of speed for a couple of hours maybe. So we've done country riding, we've done a bit of motorway riding. Let's see what this bike's like in the city, because realistically I think that's where a lot of these bikes are going to end up. Just being ridden around the city, looking all pretty under the city lights and shit. So, oh, neutral, see? Easy that time. It is an air-cooled bike, this, so it does get a little bit warm, and if you're sat on a hot sunny day at the traffic lights for a minute or two, it does start to get a little bit warm between your legs. You have to do this kind of bowed leg type thing. Oh, okay, yeah, just go ahead of you there. That's fine. I wasn't going there anyway. Let's see what it sounds like in here. Yeah, sounds alright. Okay, so we're doing 15 or 13 miles an hour behind this guy. This is how a lot of people drive in cities now. Oh, no, he's pulling in somewhere. But this bike will do it. Okay, it's not really the best place to park. But yeah, it's a little bit choppy down at sort of 20 miles an hour. Not too bad, but it does just sort of lurch a little bit backwards and forwards. But it's not, like I said, not the worst that I've ridden, but it is noticeable at this sort of speed, about 2,500 revs, 20 miles an hour, 24. Yeah, a little bit choppy. Oh, I found neutral again. It's like neutral lucky dip tonight. It's fine, don't bother using indicators. Indicators are overrated. Look at this. Excuse me, guys. Man, it stinks of piss down there. Look at the double yellow lines on both sides. Like, man, that guy had some really nice smelling weed. That's alright, I'm going that way. Thank you. I noticed this bike gets a lot of looks from people. I mean, bikes do generally, I think, but this bike especially, I think even a lot of non-bikers just tend to look at this thing and go, wow, that's really pretty. I think even if you don't know anything about bikes, I think you can still appreciate the design and the look of this thing. Where should we go? Oh, let's go this way. Yeah, let's go this way, just because the lights are green. And I don't like sitting at traffic lights getting sweaty balls from an air-cooled engine. I should probably show you this thing really, because it is very pretty. It's so cute. I love the wheels. I don't usually like gold rims, but these are really nice. So you can see you got your Brembo monoblock down there, single rotor, ABS obviously. Does have an oil cooler, so the oil's not just going to boil over. These mirrors as well, they work really well. Headlights nice and bright. Looks really cool. Lovely fuel tank. Just little details on these things are nice. Got a little Scrambler Ducati thing right there on the headstock. Born Free written there on the fuel tank. Seat cowl does come off, obviously. It's a really nice seat. Looks really nice. Everything about this bike just looks good, really. Termignoni pipes. They come as standard on this bike, actually. Obviously, there you can see the air-cooled L-twin in all its splendour. Well, we're going to chase a jigsaw. I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to claim that I just beat a GSX-R 1000 on a Scrambler. But I don't think he was expecting me to be quite that quick. Oh, funny shit. So yeah, it's not perfect. There's a few problems with it, as with all the Scramblers. Probably less so with this one than some of the other Scramblers, to be fair. But I'm prepared to just put those faults to one side, because ultimately I fucking love this thing. I really do. It's just got something. There's just something special about it. I mean, I'm a sport bike guy, but to be honest, I think I'm almost done with big, stupid, powerful bikes. And I think this is just maybe pushing me away from those sort of bikes altogether now. Because every time I ride a bike like this, you know, a sort of small, lightweight, underpowered bike, it just makes me realise that this is what's fun. Thrashing the hell out of a bike that's, you know, got less than 100 horsepower. To me, it's just more fun and more involving than trying to tame a 200 horsepower superbike on the street. I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people who would disagree with me there, but I don't know. I think today I've had a lot more fun riding this around than I have riding the 1299 Panigale S around on the streets.